speaking of numbers, and speaking of winning tickets, I have some sage advice for you all watching here today. If you're a winning sports bettor, depending on the state you live in, you may actually have to pay taxes on those winnings. If you're losing, that's a completely different story. They're not going to fuck you over twice. But if you're winning and how much you won, the taxes you have to pay is going to vary heavily based on where you live, where you cashed those winning tickets, or where the bet was placed, and a load of other factors. So be sure to do your research and protect yourself. Now, I know you're probably thinking, back in history class, the founding fathers wouldn't want this. They wouldn't want us to pay taxes on our sports betting winnings. And I know, I get it. I'm sure George Washington feels that in his grave right now. The fact that we have to pay the taxes and the juice on top of that makes a
The
man want to throw
goddamn
tea in the
juice. The damn
makes
juice.
makes a man want to throw tea in the harbor, but I digress. So be sure to just do all the research you can because what you do, withdrawing, how much you withdraw, the method you withdraw it to, whether you use PayPal, your bank account, are you a crypto guy trying to fucking skirt around the lines? Just make sure you do it and protect yourself. I have two stories for you. First story, I was thankful and lucky enough to cash a good ticket on Carlos Esparza and that, we'll call it a fight against Rose, the one that was is better left to memory. Very uneventful fight. So I'm up there in the great tax-free state of New Hampshire, and I give it to the guy behind the window, and he's cashing it out, and it was roughly $1,300. And I go, "Am I gonna have to pay taxes on this, bro?" And he looks at me, a fucking bald eagle in his eye, cowboy hat, smokes a cigar. So, and this is New Hampshire. You don't got to pay taxes up here, buddy. And I was like, "Fuck yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Live free or die, motherfucker." So that was nice. But if I were to cash that ticket somewhere else, that may not be the case. And I'm not going to sit up here and pretend I'm educated on every single state. You got to do that yourself. It's part of being a winning sports bettor. If that's your goal. If you're more recreational, honestly, I'd probably still do the research because you don't want to get hit for money you don't have. And speaking of that, my other story. Here's a fun story. Back during college, before I could legally gamble, I was betting offshore using Bitcoin. I fucking ran my balance up betting nothing but hockey and Chinese League of Legends and some other League of Legends as well. I'm not joking. I ran that bad boy up to 2 grand in Bitcoin, and like an idiot, I withdrew it all at once. And then I told my dad, "Fucking Bitcoin, you're gonna have to pay taxes on that." I was like, "Really?" And he was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh," but kind of flew a little close to the sun there. Just figured I'd let you know about that. So whatever you do, be able and be responsible because you don't want the IRS knocking on your door asking you where you got all this Bitcoin. You have to be like, "I was gambling on Chinese League of Legends." I was pretty close to that conversation, not gonna lie. The IRS also went after a friend of mine from high school over an $18 tip that he got delivering pizzas our junior year. So, fun stuff out there.
You got me feeling lucky. I'm putting everything on black.